Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan. We are here to talk about the Challenge All Stars 5 Rivals, Episode 9. I'm joined by my lovely co host with us for Montian, Zoe Tremboli.
Hi, everyone.
And back with us is the Southern Luke Wency.
What's up, guys?
Luke, you weren't here last week. We lost two absolute powerhouses in the game in Dario and Ashley. How'd you feel about that?
It was a fun return for the both of them. I would have liked to have maybe seen Dario win just because of the cutthroat move he made against Leroy-ish. But it's no real loss. I would much rather have Turbo. Well, I'd much rather have Nana here.
Do you think Dario should be on another season?
Yeah, I would like to see it. But I commented on his TikTok live and said, would you ever? And he said no. He said this was the perfect timeline and it was short enough. I just don't see it ever happening again for the main show. And they're probably not going to ever call me again for All Stars. So I just put it out of my mind. But I did appreciate that he, before we never talk about him again, I appreciate that he did make a move that hurt Leroy, a very close friend, because he knows that you've got to win the game. It is shady as hell. But I'm so glad that there have been people on this season who are playing for this season alone and not for future seasons.
Agreed. Co-sign. Want to get into this episode now?
Yeah.
True.
All right, we're down to 6 teams, 12 people in the house left. Numbers are dwindling, so finally Melissa and Nicole are getting some screen time. And it kind of catches us off guard. They're playing around by the pool, and Melissa lays a kiss on Nicole. Folks, your Wi-Fi is not lagging. We are just stunned in silence.
So I'm not stunned, I'll say. I get the sense that this isn't the first time that this happened and that Nicole was just aware of the cameras in that moment.
Correct. And this is totally breaking the fourth wall. And I don't think it's a spoiler for the show, but after they filmed this season, Melissa and Nicole were together in the UK. They went to Vegas. They posted wedding rings together. It seems like there was something a lot more serious happening behind closed doors. But I mean, this is no surprise that Nicole would do something like this. And people are gonna be like, "Well, Melissa kissed her." Yeah, okay, she didn't just do it out of nowhere. I was happy to see Veronica chime in and just say, we're not going to do this. As a woman that's in a relationship with another woman, let's not open the door for fodder for you to be cheating on your girlfriend with just some random, I mean, maybe not random, but just some girl.
I think that people need to give up on the idea that Nicole is capable of monogamy. Mostly Nicole needs to give up on the idea that Nicole is capable of monogamy. And I think Veronica was really truly just trying to do her a solid and you're saying trying to make the LGBTQ community, because some people are so stupid that they would associate the actions of one dirtbag with an entire community. But yeah, I mean, just this is what Nicole does. This is nothing new. And I truly believe that this was not, while it might look weird on camera that Nicole was trying to push her off and they were just playing around and it was innocent, stuff was definitely happening off camera.
For sure. Slight tangent. I started watching Invasion with one of my friends recently, and he was like, "Oh my God, I love this Nicole girl." Cringed very hard. But in the scenes for the rest of the season, there were clips of Nicole and Cara, Nicole and Laurel, and my friend was like, "Oh my goodness, is she really gonna do them like that?" I'm like, "You have no idea who this girl is. She is just to be engaged, because she said she's engaged to this girl, and you're kissing somebody else. That's just dirty."
How many times has she been engaged?
A lot. I mean, because her engagement broke off before X on the Peak, and then she was with Laurel and that Allie DeMarco girl who keeps begging to be on the challenge. And then when her ex-fiance showed back up, she got back with her and they got engaged again. Like, it's a lot.
I hate her.
Was Allie DeMarco the girl that was on the Naked Brothers band?
Yes. She's always in the challenge comments like, I'm ready. I'm waiting for my call, TJ. I'm like, he doesn't actually make those calls.
You brought up the Veronica element of it too, and Veronica, I mean, always been very like a proud supporter, but like it is something she's conscious of too, because like Nicole comes on every season and cheats on people, but it's kind of Casey, who before she got with Nani, there were always these rumors about her cheating on her girlfriend, and then you had whatever was people would insinuate between her and Nani, and then Nani this season, her and Casey broke up. In between this and at the beginning of the year, there were fake rumors that we talked about on this podcast about Nani cheating. And if you're a woman on reality TV in a relationship with a woman, there's not a lot of them on it on our show, but the sample size has shown a decent amount of cheating or at least implications of it. So I get where Veronica's coming at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. She shouldn't have to do what she's doing, but I get why she's doing it.
And for whatever reason, I do think Veronica values Nicole as a person.
Yeah. Why? But whatever. That's not my business.
I mean, Nicole basically gave her a free start last season when she called her down and then let her stay up there.
That's true. And they are both friends with Marie, had been to her baby shower that week and stuff. But like, I don't know. I think this is a nice time for me just to input this. I don't understand why production, I'm sure the season was edited before the premiere date, but why they keep giving us phone calls between Nani and Casey. Like, that would be so easy to edit out and add something else in, I believe. I mean, maybe just for continuity of storyline, but like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, let them break up in peace.
And All Stars doesn't do reunions, so unless Nani talks about it on the next season that she's on, which I'm assuming she will in some capacity, it's awkward. It's sad.
Yeah.
I also let me pull the curtain back a little bit for everyone at home. Like, oh, well, they edited this show months ago when they were still together. No. They still make edits all season on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Before, like many years ago, if MTV will have the episodes sent to advance to people who cover it. In years prior, though, they actually used to be much different. Where like the episode you got might actually be like different from what airs by a significant amount. And on Vendetta specifically, there were a lot of episodes I saw that had Cam and Leroy relationship scenes that got edited out of the main episode and replaced by scenes with Bananas and Natalie. Yeah, I'm not joking. There were like multiple Cam Leroy scenes that I was like, oh, they just completely took that out. Scenes with like Nelson and Kaylee got taken out. And yeah, then compared to the full edit. And then you go to season 35 when they had to literally edit out D every week. Season 30 when they began editing out Camilla's confessionals, where she basically had none of them in the final. MTV has the power to edit out these Casey and Nani scenes. They might just give us more of Adam farting or something like that, but they have the power to do it, and they're choosing not to, which just feels like a real salt in the wounds of their relationships.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face. I mean, it goes along with how production's always treated its female talent. So, not surprising.
And Nani is not even around to talk about it because she went to go film season 41. I don't know if she's still there filming season 41 or if she's home, but she can't tweet about it even if she was because of the social media lock they put on you once you're on the show. So Nani can't even defend herself online as this is all going on.
Yeah. Which is probably the best way to go about it, like out of sight, out of mind, but it is just strange. Casey, of course, has been on TikTok Live. She's not mentioned it in the times that I've scrolled past and been like, why is she back on here? But
Casey's been on TikTok Live since the season began airing. It's just been a continuous.
Casey's been on TikTok Live for like a year. I mean, I'm convinced that's why they broke up.
Let me tell you something after we get off here. And please don't let me forget. But okay. Yeah, I think that might have something to do with it too.
What's the most amount of hours you could date someone who was on TikTok? how many hours could someone you were dating be on TikTok live for a year?
It depends on how sustainable it was, but it's also like, is this going to consume every single one of your nights? Like, if I want to go in here and watch a show, are you going to say, sorry, I've got to TikTok live tonight and talk to strangers and do battles? Like, that's embarrassing. And I know people make a living off of it, but like, I think when it intercepts into your actual life and you can't put the phone down and say, we're going out for ice cream, we're going to spend a night in, like, that's a problem. Any given night, you scroll your For You page, and if you're associate the challenge, she pops up. Same with Chase Sterrett. It's like, I'd have to know.
Are we talking like nightly, Allan? Like what our limit is?
I'd say for the whole year. The whole, like, I don't think I could be with someone who is on TikTok live more than 50 hours for the whole year.
I can't think about it in that. I think like on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Okay. They can't be on TikTok live for more than an hour a week for me.
I would say 300, around 300 hours. I give you about 6 hours per week. If you're making actual money from it, okay, whatever. Pick your 3 nights per week, and we'll just act like you're working second shift. But like,
well, I was just thinking like about like what my husband does while we're doing this.
true.
So, and then like he has a night he does something. So there's like 2 nights where we have something that we're doing separate. And I think that's enough for me. Like,
yeah.
So I would say 4 hours a week. If again, they're like actually making money and it's like profitable, if they're just doing it for an ego boost or for like to talk to people, yeah, I'm judging. That's not something I personally could tolerate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nicole's cheating on her girlfriend again, and Melissa is also. She might have had a significant other at home. Who knows? Melissa, she's done it a bunch of times on both men and women. You know, equal opportunists. Whatever it takes.
Melissa can also just do better. So like, ew.
Right.
I know. I should mean like maybe she deserves it also.
I was gonna say like Melissa just has bad taste and makes bad choices, but also like as beautiful as Melissa is, maybe she can also be a bad choice herself with how chaotic she is. Like, and I love her as a reality TV character. I enjoy her. I enjoy seeing her face on my TV, but like, she's toxic.
I have strong feelings about the other one. So
Yeah. Same.
the bar is low.
Yeah, lesser of two evils for you. Yeah, let's go to the daily challenge. There is a star on the line. It is a silly, fun daily challenge that there was actually some strategy to it though. And players got on these giant inner tubes. There was a soapy, like, what's it called? What's the game called? Shuffleboard type floor where there's all these different targets and points, and you try to get your teammate towards the closest to the center for the most points possible. And they kept running it in rounds where the team who had the lowest score each time would get eliminated. The team that was like farthest away from the bullseye would get eliminated.
The inner tube also had wheels.
Which yeah.
It was like,
looked like a slip and slide situation, but it actually just wasn't.
It wasn't. They must have done trials with it and realized it didn't work, and then like jerry rigged some like piece of cardboard and not cardboard, but
plywood and like just
wheels and sent them down the hill. I loved the aspect of this elimination that's every round someone got eliminated. I just think challenges that are built like that are a little bit more interesting.
Well, and I think for the teams that were left that didn't have a star, like it was a good even playing field one where it wasn't like, okay, obviously this person is going to get the star today.
No, anyone could have won this.
And, you know, the fact that multiple rounds, like, if you mess up the first time, well, you just got to be not the worst. And if you are the worst, then you messed up really badly. And as teams get, like, taken out, they're watching on the sidelines and they become invested in all the other teams participating still. And they're cheering and they're like, oh, man, I really hope this person doesn't win now. So even, you know, Nine Turbo got taken out first, they were still invested in what the outcome was going to be.
I also liked that they had to switch positions each round. So like you couldn't really get into a rhythm, and it held both teammates accountable for their ability. So they were taking turns either pushing or being pushed towards the target. And I think that actually made the challenge so much better.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. Sometimes simple is better, and this was simple. This was, fun. As I mentioned before, Nani and Turbo came in last. They was it Turbo overpushed her or she overpushed him?
She went first, so he overpushed her, I think, right? Yeah. She went down the hill first.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure she was the one on the tube.
All support knows that they were taken out immediately, and they were a team who needed to win to protect their star. So that was immediate danger for them. As it goes on, it comes down to 3 teams, 2 of which you don't have stars, which are Katie and Veronica and Shane and Devon. Actually, before them as well, Nicole and Melissa got taken out in this daily challenge because Nicole touched the floor to stop herself.
I just like knew they were going to get DQ'd, right? Like it's inevitable. They're going to do something dumb.
It didn't hurt my feelings that they got DQ'd. So
I loved it.
I'm waiting for the comments that are going to say, y'all are so negative. I'm sorry, it's Nicole. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I'm a hater. Sue me.
I would say we're positively negative about like Nicole. We were negative. We were saying it with such liveliness and care, and they are the worst team this season, at the very least when it comes to daily challenges, because they're never close and they even find ways to lose like this. Nicole's an idiot, just plain and simple.
Yeah.
But as I said before, it came down to 3 teams for the final, with 2 teams competing for the star, Shane, Devon, Katie and Veronica. I think Katie was really bad at pushing because each time Veronica went way too far that Katie pushed. And in the end, Shane and Devon earned a star.
Yeah, which I was happy about.
I liked that they also were the actual winners of the challenge because it made it feel like they deserved their star in this instance. I know they won it before they even won the challenge, but just for me as a viewer, I feel better about them having a star in this challenge knowing they actually won it.
Yeah, I get that.
We also saw Shane yelling at Devon. She yelled back. He's like, no, make sure I'm centered right in the tube. And they just had a back and forth like, no, I got to be centered. And if they had lost, would have been a bad look. But the fact they won made it look like, you know what, he was right. He needed to be properly centered in that tube.
Yeah.
He just maybe could have said it a little differently.
Yeah. And then the final round, it came down to Devon pulling off, like she pulled her back all the way in order to stop the momentum of the tube, and it got them to win over Frank and Sam.
Yeah, love it.
I would have loved seeing Frank and Sam win this, guys.
I know you would have.
Well, it's just okay because obviously Sam is the greatest challenger ever, but it would have been just fun because Frank is such chaos that this would be such a great time for him to pull a power move out of nowhere.
Yeah, he would have targeted Steve and Adam again.
Yeah.
We would have had Nani and Turbo versus Steve and Adam.
Yeah, I guess I did miss last week. I'm feeling a bit like about Frank. I love what he's brought to the show, but in a way, like I think that coupled with the social media stuff has gotten to be a little bit too much. Like either own your moves or don't own your moves. But you're right. Him winning this, he would have made a bold move. We're going to talk about this. That I think Shane and Devon could have made too.
So we talked about this last week, Allan and I. I think we talked about it last week anyway, unless I'm losing my mind. Frank is so polarizing and it makes him an excellent character, but like I don't have to like him. Like as a viewer, I'm perfectly comfortable being like, he's too much. Like I genuinely on a personal level don't care for him, and I can also appreciate what he's bringing to the show and to the season, and I'm glad I have someone to root against because I am rooting against him on a personal level.
I think that is a beautiful way to put it. And something that I've said many times that I didn't even apply to this situation, that I like having somebody to root against. So yeah, that's good perspective. I don't know. I would just wish that Shane and Avon had made different moves, which again we're going to talk about. But directly after, speaking of Shane, Davon, Frank is having a conversation with Adam where I don't remember what he says. What does he say?
It kind of becomes the whole thing because like Nicole is the one who's like, I want to be the house vote. And she's telling everyone like, oh, okay, then you'll be the house vote. We'll make it easy type stuff. And then Frank's like, we don't have to think about it. Just make them the house vote. He's trying to keep it private, even though the whole house is basically going to be on it, which Davon is intrigued to hear like, hey, so what are you scheming against us? It's like, we're the team in power.
Well, like, he specifically uses the phrase like basically like they're taking power away from them. He was saying something to the effect of like they won't have a choice.
Yeah, people like don't worry about it either. So like,
it was something that clearly he didn't want to be heard saying, because the second Davon was like, no, I want to know what you're talking about. He like lost it. Like he lost any shred of power in that situation to the viewer. I'm sure after the episode, his IG live, he's going to say like, that was intentional. He's a mastermind, a la Taylor Swift.
He was throwing a fit.
Yeah.
He was throwing a temper tantrum and she was like so calm and so cool and so collected and just being like, tell me what you said. I want to know. Tell me what you said. And then he starts like calling her girl and she goes, my name's Davon. And then that really sent him over the edge.
I thought about it. I figured out what Frank is on the challenge. He's a horror movie villain. And that like you could have a favorite horror movie villain. You're like, oh wow, I like it when Freddy Krueger does this, this, and this. But at the end of the day, you should not be rooting for Freddy Krueger to win, but you want to see him do as much chaos before he's taken out. And I think that's like kind of how I feel about Frank. Is like I love him on the show, but ultimately, it's like, am I rooting to see him take it all? No, because he's not a good guy in that sense.
And maybe
yeah, I definitely think he's changed in how he reacts to things, and it's not so much. He still reacts the same. Like, I don't know. If him and Sam pull off this win, it's going to be really cool that, like, Sam's a 2-time champ for 2 seasons. Zoe is probably right that I don't foresee it happening. But yeah, I'll just choose to root against him. And this is not to say I don't want to see him back. I would love to see him if he had the time to do the main show, because I think that would spice the main show up so much. I will say, I'd much rather root against him and have him there than root against someone like Johnny Bananas and have him there. Like, he is something fresh, even if it's not someone who I want to win the season.
Yeah. And I think Allan and I touched on this too last week. Like, Frank is good for reality TV, but reality TV is not good for Frank. But like, I don't care about that. So keep coming back, because I want to root against you and I want the chaos to continue.
For sure.
And something that unfortunately keeps coming back is stairs. And because stairs continue to keep taking down Veronica. After she broke her toe on some stairs last season, she's walking down some stairs in some heels this season, and she rolls her ankle. Everyone was supposed to be going out on a night to the club. Now the whole night is over. No one's getting drinks. No one's getting appetizers. No one's getting hookah because Veronica rolled her ankle, which I did feel bad about. But everyone's night's now over.
I was devastated because Davon looked so good while they were walking out of the house. And I was like, her outfit, her hair, everything, she looked so good. And I was like, all that effort and all that beauty. And we never saw her again. At least some people were sitting next to Veronica. Well, that was a whole other thing. But like that whole look wasted. I need to like go back and rewatch the episode and just like take a screenshot of her, because she just looked so good. And I'm hyper fixating on that one part because I was just so annoyed with Veronica. I'm like, girl, why you need to wear heels? Throw on some like high top sneakers. We know you're short. It's fine.
Yeah. Before we started recording this, I asked you two, like, did that stop them from going to the club or bar, whatever it is they've set up? I would be upset. I hate it for Veronica, but it's also like, my goodness. 2 seasons in a row.
Shots. No shooters. Right. Just none of it. None of it. All gone because of Veronica. Christmas is over. I saw a girl at the bar this weekend who was wearing 8-inch boots, and they were really cool, and they were like glitterized and they're actually sick. I'm not gonna lie. But she was a girl like Veronica's height, and then she made herself real tall. It was real nice. She should get some of those. That girl looked real stable. Um, but okay, so Veronica messes up her ankle, and now we have the entire house working on her as like a full-time medical squad, which then leads to a fight between Shane and Frank, where Shane is trying to do 87 different things to Veronica's ankle in order to be the miracle worker, and Frank says like, well, hey, just ice it and elevate it. And Frank is like, I have a doctorate in physical therapy.
I was Team Frank on this one.
I was too, without a doubt. I love Shane, and it was clear he was trying to be a good friend and show that he was being the good friend. But in a situation that like is involving her physical health, okay, Frank, and that could have been a good bridging moment too. Just like, Frank, you're the guy that knows what to do. Like, I'm just gonna stay in here for support.
It was such a good highlight of how ridiculous the pissing match between them has gotten, though, because like Shane had to be territorial over Veronica's rolled ankle, and Frank also like couldn't just walk away once he knew it was iced. He knew it was elevated, and he was just so annoyed that Shane had his weird little massage gun and was massaging her toes with it.
He was like sock on, sock off, 5 seconds or like 5 minutes, then sock back. He was trying to be so scientific whatever about it. And I love Shane made comments like he thinks I'm dumb. It's like he doesn't think you're dumb. He thinks he knows what he's doing because this is what he works in.
Yeah.
But maybe he does also think you're dumb because you two also hate each other.
Yeah.
I had a friend who had a doctorate in PT, and there was a very stupid man who had an athletic training degree who was like arguing with her about like which muscles were which. And she was just like, she eventually did what Frank did. She gave up and walked away because she was like, nope, I studied this. I had to pass exams about this. And you taught people how to lift weights at the gym. Like, we are not the same.
Yeah. Great
Yeah.
TV though.
Yeah. If we need someone who can do a chia pet growing hair helmet, that's Shane's thing. Frank has the PhD here, though. I'm gonna take his rank over it. Moving on, though. There also is that thought, like, oh my God, is Veronica gonna get removed from the game? Is she gonna be over? She was walking on that ankle just fine the next day.
She just didn't want to go out. She just wanted to.
Well, she was dressed real good too, as well. I think that
I'm
is
just kidding.
lost.
Yeah.
We move on from this to the House vote. And the plan is, everyone is acquiescing to Nicole and Melissa's request to be voted in. Their reason for wanting to go in is that they think that this is going to be the last elimination of the season, so they need to get a star right then and there, which makes sense. However, if I was the House, specifically like people like Frank, I don't know if I would have, let that happen, especially when Adam and Steve and Turbo and Nani are such big threats for the final.
Yeah, and they orchestrated this whole Melissa and Nicole getting voted in thing because they were trying to put Shane in an uncomfortable position to not choose his friend Veronica to go in against them. And also all of this so Nani and Turbo Star could get stolen. And I'm like, Adam and Steve are right there, and they're a way bigger threat.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess, yeah, you're talking about the House vote now. I so agree. Like, if Nani or Turbo or Adam and Steve win the season, it's like, well.
Also, considering how things have happened, if you put Nani and Turbo and Adam and Steve in against each other, one, a star is up for grabs, and they're definitely going to let these two teams duke it out in the next episode for that remaining star.
Right. Yeah, they had to have known that this, like, there were scenarios that would prove this is not the last.
Yeah, so part of why I think everyone was so cool voting Melissa and Nicole was that Veronica and Katie were also wanting to be then voted in as the power vote to face them off for that last star, because also these two teams probably had to think each other is the best option to win an elimination because they've been the two worst teams in the daily challenges all season. And everyone else in the house is like, well, Melissa, Nicole, or Katie and Veronica being in the final alongside with us instead of Nani and Turbo then elevates our chance of winning too.
Which is why they should have made sure they were getting rid of one of those two teams who both weren't safe.
Yep. All these things make sense. But you also have Nani and Turbo who are upset because their stars is going to be taken in this scenario. Devon has also mentioned her closeness to Nani this whole season. Now, here's the thing I'm wondering never like came into play is why did Nani and Turbo not volunteer to go into elimination to protect their stars if they know it's going to be stolen anyway?
Was allowed to?
Well, because they could have been like, hey, Shane and Devon, like Devon, if you are my friend this much, put me in elimination against Nicole and Melissa. We can beat them, and then we can just protect our star.
It does make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering if they even thought of that, but that makes perfect sense. But then it's Devon and Shane fighting between Devon's friendship with Nani and Shane's friendship with Veronica.
I had said before we started recording this, I don't understand why Shane and Devon did not throw in Frank and Sam. If Frank and Sam beat Melissa and Nicole, there's no star for grabs. And if Melissa and Nicole beat Frank and Sam, then they get their star. It keeps everybody safe.
They all were operating from this assumption that whoever was left at the end of this elimination was just going to get purged. And I'm like, they wouldn't just do that right after an elimination. I don't think so.
And I agree. But I think because of that thought is why Shane did not want to do it to Veronica. Yeah. Like maybe that was driving the idea. And maybe he thought if they do steal Nani and Turbo's star, I mean, that does work out for me in the final if they don't find a way to get there.
They're vastly underestimating how problematic Adam and Steve being in this final is.
Yeah. It's one of the toughness of like, we're seeing friendship get in the way of their games where they're, because Shane and Adam did road rules together 20 years ago. They've been friends for that long. They were on, before I'm fact checking this, they were on Viewers Revenge, which was the road rules spin like last season where they brought back all the people, and Adam has said like, oh, Shane killed Abram off for me when Abram was trying to murder me. So like they've had a long time bond, and Veronica and Katie have a long time bond to Adam and Steve too. So ultimately it's like their friendship which is carrying them into why Adam and Steve are still here at this point. But yeah, as you're saying, they are clearly the biggest threats, but I think they're okay losing their friend, which is dumb, but makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say if there's any teams that are going to benefit from this, like all-stars, like connection relationships forged through history, I'm glad it's the teams that are actually like OGs, because we've seen it happen way too often the other way. And there's something that at least feels right about people who are the beginning of this show and this era getting the benefit of it.
Slight tangent. Yes. And I don't know if Zoe's seen this because she's got like a bunch of stuff muted on Twitter. A true OG has said to Mark Long, I will come back to the show. Put the video out. Do you know about this?
Yeah, I collapsed.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I've said many times on this podcast, it's not an OG show. It's not an OG show. Well, she's an OG and she's an all-star. We need to get All-Stars 6 greenlit just for this alone, even if it's just her there for like 12 episodes by herself talking to the camera. But yes, there is something, while this is all-stars and not OGs, there is something fun about seeing the OGs get to the end and showing that like we started the show, we know how to play the game, we've still got it. So I agree with that sentiment completely.
Also, if I see Coral on my TV again, I will die. That is my goat. That is my Mount Rushmore. Just her alone, nobody else. Like, I was the happiest I've been in such a long time.
If Mark Long can pull it off, kudos to him. Now, elimination time?
Yeah.
Veronica and Katie versus Nicole and Melissa, and what was a pretty good elimination.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to explain it?
No.
I don't remember it. I just know
Okay.
who won.
So the players held a string together, and within the string there was like a
Weighted needle.
like a needle, like a weighted needle that they would then drop into. There were balloons at the bottom, but you had to get them through a very specific small hole, and then you had to get it through the middle of the hole for the balloon to pop. If you got it through the side and like popped it through the side, it wouldn't have counted.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the team to blow up as many of their balloons properly in the fastest amount of time was going to win the elimination. You just had to watch this elimination, but visually it was good, and it was crazy because these two teams were neck and neck the entire time.
I
Yeah.
watched it, don't remember it, so I'm gonna let y'all take the.
Well, I mean, it was very close. Melissa and Nicole had a little bit of a lead the entire time. And towards the end, and I truly thought this was going to be their demise, and it would have been so fitting, is like Nicole didn't realize she had like given away all of her rope to Melissa, and was operating with like no rope left because she's dumb. And it really came down to, I think, seconds. But Nicole and Melissa pulled it out. But if they had lost because Nicole didn't realize she had no rope left, it would have just been poetic, honestly.
I also took a screenshot and sent you guys like the ending image of like both teams' needles were like literally right there in the cylinder as like Nicole and Melissa were winning. It was like that close neck and neck, and they just plunged their thing in just a second earlier for the win.
Yeah, I would have loved for the opposite result to have happened. Just because as much as like sometimes Veronica gets on my nerves a lot, I think she's really good for this show, and I think she's very intelligent, and it's fun to see the relationships that like occur around her because of her. But this is probably the best thing for her that she's not running well, I don't know. It just depends on what the final is.
I appreciated Davon saying like, I like you, but you gotta go because my partner's obsessed with you, and it's like making him a crazy person, because that's 100% true. Like Shane is not as reliable with Veronica around. But I honestly wanted Veronica and Katie to win, both because that element, that the Frank and Shane thing, is so much more interesting with her there, and because Katie has worked so hard this season and has like stepped so far outside of her comfort zone. I just wanted to see her be able to run this final.
Yeah.
Katie was bawling in tears after the loss, and typically when Katie loses on the show, she just goes, "Oh, well, shucks, who cares? That was an appearance check." But they got far into the game. She became emotionally invested. They won a daily challenge at one point, for God's sake, and they were doing so well in this elimination. So Katie actually became a challenger again, not just like a person who's like on the challenge. She was like playing the game.
Yeah.
And her just trying to be a good role model for her daughter, which she talks about multiple times, and like basically saying, I can't just tell her that she has to be brave. I have to show her what it means to be brave too. I just thought that was really cool and kind of full circle for this show.
Right.
So yeah, I was sad to see them go, especially when the people staying are Nicole and Melissa.
From choking out Anissa to this point, like it's been a strong last 7-8 months for Katie on the challenge. I agree. I'm not happy Nicole and Melissa won this elimination because they've sucked this entire season, and in terms of entertainment, they really haven't brought much to the table. Obviously, you had Melissa's little thing with Turbo last week, but that was just not even relevant to the whole show and them kissing. But it's like it's too little, too late. It's like it's stuff that's only happened now that there's only like 12 people left in the house, and they have to show you on screen. Well, actually, they don't have to show you on screen because Steve is nowhere to be found. But still, they're not entertaining, and they haven't been good all season. They should not have a star because they bring nothing to the table. I'm sorry.
I think it's also like not helped by the fact that this is the first star that was stolen this season.
Mm-hmm.
And because this was the norm on All Stars 4, and we got used to people's stars getting stolen, this wouldn't have bothered me as much. But the fact that no one else has had the opportunity to steal a star until now, and it's a team that sucks, that feels shitty. And I know it's just the game and that's how it's worked out because of all the politicking everyone else has been doing. Yeah, I want to see teams who've done something decent earn it.
Yeah. Why? Okay. Maybe I just blacked out in this episode. Why was that an option this episode? Just because they're getting so close to the final?
Because this is the first time two non-star holding teams have gone.
Oh, you got you.
Every other episode, there's been at least one star holding team in the elimination.
That's such a great point, Zoe, too, because after the elimination, we see Nani have a bit of a meltdown and freak out because she's like, this game sucks. Everything's against me. This is just bullshit. And when I watched it at first, I was like, well, stealing stars is part of the game. It's part of the format. This is how it goes. You should have, you should have thrown yourself into elimination, protected your star if you didn't want this to happen. You should have been like, hey, Shane, throw us in against Melissa and Nicole. But now that you bring up that point that nobody has dealt with the actual repercussions of a star getting stolen, it does come as a shock. Whereas if this had been happening week after week, people would be a little bit more numb to it.
I mean, and a big reason it hasn't happened is because Steve and Adam had to go into 4 eliminations and protect their star and got nothing to show for it. So there's the other side of it. And Nani and Turbo have gone into 2 eliminations and protected their star. Like, all these things have happened. And it goes back to what we've been saying all season is the star holding teams who've gotten into elimination should have been able to move stars around. And it would have changed the game in that way too.
For sure.
I really thought Steve and Adam were going to break the elimination record this season. They might not even tie it. But wow, we're down to 5 teams here now. And as TJ mentioned, like, there's another daily challenge because Nani and Turbo thought for a second they were going to be purged out. Nope. Instead, there's another one. Nani and Turbo are the only team now without a star. I wonder how next week is going to go. If I were the other teams in the house, I would basically ice out Nani and Turbo from the elimination if possible.
I think there's definitely going to be an elimination is my hunch. Unless, depending on who wins, the only people they have a shot at getting to take out Steve and Adam would be Nani and Turbo. So at least in that sense, one of those 2 good teams is not going to the final if you somehow can get them into the elimination. That also means they can't win.
Oh yeah, because everybody has a star at this point. So if 2 star holders go against each other and one loses, then that automatically sends Nani and Turbo into the final because they get the star.
Or would it just be 3 teams in the final?
My brain assumed it would be 3 teams in the final. But maybe.
See, I can't speculate because I know what happens. But yeah, I don't know. But we'll see. I'm excited to see what actually happens because.
I mean, those other teams have got to be thinking about trying to get rid of Steve and Adam, though, too.
Right, for sure. Yeah, they have to be if they're not.
I think most of those teams are probably thinking of getting Shane and Davon out of this because Melissa, Nicole, and Steve and Adam, and they've all been. Actually, no, never mind. I forgot Frank's confessional at the end because when Veronica was there, Steve and Adam and their whole alliance was like running the whole thing, but. At the end of the episode, Frank is like, all right, now that Veronica's gone, Steve and Adam, I can actually attack you full, because when he was working with Veronica,
he had to be sneaky behind the scenes about it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do you want to see Steve and Adam in the final?
No.
I mean, no, because I can't root for a man, and there's 2 of them. That's just like the truth of it. There's never a time in my life I will root for a male team over a team with a woman on it. And maybe I'd like them to beat Melissa and Nicole, just based on being okay.
Yeah, I would be fine with that.
Let me retract. I actually would like them to beat Melissa and Nicole and Frank and Sam. But because there is Shane and Davon and Nani are here,
it's hard
to there because I don't want them to win.
Yeah.
We'll never cheer for a male team against a woman team unless it's just these circumstances and then also these circumstances and then this circumstance as well.
Well, you just have to be terrible and like so terrible that I hate you.
I agree with you, and like I like Adam and Steve, but do I want to watch them destroy everyone in the final? No, I don't. But are they the most deserving team to win? Well, not
Yeah.
yes and no, kind of. It's a weird thing because again, the whole male dynamic does give them an upper hand, but they have won a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Challenge All Stars 5 is a season that is hard to objectively discuss when it comes to competition, but it has been entertaining. So if you just ignore the flaws in that whole thing, which is impossible because we do a podcast about it, then it's better. But
I'm still enjoying it for what it is. So I'm
Totally.
gonna just.
I'm accepting the fact that I'm going to be unhappy with the outcome, probably. Statistically, it's likely I'm going to be unhappy with the outcome.
that's the spirit. Everyone, make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple. Actually, is there anything else we need to say before we end the podcast?
No. The next daily challenge looks good. That's all I got.
I completely forgot what it was. So, oh, they're doing like a mini final type comp, or like they're stacking. Yeah, it looks pretty intense. I'm sure Sam will kill it. Yeah, subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get the podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone.